All right, the next thing I want you to do is we're going to save this information from our linear regression model. All right, so first thing you need to do is go to a clean Google Doc or a clean Word document. And I'm going to start off with infant mortality. This will kind of be my title of what I'm doing here. And then we're going to do a linear regression model. And then I'm going to type the equation of my regression model. So it'll be y equals, and then I need my slope and my y-intercept. So the m is my slope value. So it doesn't matter if I put the y-intercept or the slope first, but m being the slope, I'm just going to go ahead and grab that since it's the first thing here. So I highlighted it, copied, go back over, paste. So then it's that times x, and then my y-intercept value is positive. It is not negative, so I'm going to highlight it, copy it, and then say plus, paste. So here's my LSRL, my least squares regression line. Some other things to note would be the r-squared value. So you could say r to the second power, or if you want to do a superscript for the square, you certainly could. And then I'm going to say that is equal to 0.97. And the mean, how do they say that? Mean squared error is, I might need this value later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. That's all I really want you to do with just this part. The next part we're going to do now is we're going to figure out the predicted infant mortality rate for the year 2050. And so basically all we're going to do is plug in the year 2050 into X. So what's that going to look like? Well, I'm going to go and just copy my regression line up here and paste it down here. And where there's the X, I'm going to take it away and I'm going to put in the year 2050. Now, I could use my calculator to do this, but I could also just use some more web-based tools here. So if you go to a new window, new tab, and you go to Wolfram Alpha's website, which is just wolframalpha.com. And so Wolfram Alpha pops up. And let me go back to my Word document. I'm going to copy all of this. You can even take the y equals part. It really doesn't matter. And I want to paste it into Wolfram Alpha. And this will just tell me what y is equal to. It's going to do all the math here. So I'm going to say equals. It's going to do its thing. And it tells me right down here. I'm going to copy that. Did it copy it? Can't quite tell. Just kind of did something weird to it. Let's see if it copied. No, I don't want to pay for Pro. Copy and paste. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is say this is my predicted infant mortality rate for the year 2050. And it's negative, so that's kind of a good thing, right? Unless we have dead zombie babies. But at some point between now and the year 2050, we would theoretically hope, and we're making the prediction here, that we would have a negative infant mortality rate, which means at some point before the year 2050, it hits 0, which is our hope, right? We don't want to have dead babies. The next thing I want you to do is let's figure out what is the predicted year that infant mortality reaches 0. And so what we're going to do with that is go back up here to our linear regression model. So when X was X and not when X was 2050, copy that. Let's go back to Wolfram Alpha, and I'm going to paste this into here. And where the Y is, I'm going to put 0 because Y represented the infant mortality rate. X represented the year. So I want 0 infant mortality rate. And so now it's going to solve for X. So once I hit equals over here, it's going to tell me the year that I would expect to find 0 infant mortality. And it tells me right down here when X is 2030.72, blah, 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 blah. So this is telling me sometime in the year 2030, we would expect on a linear regression model that we would end up with no more dead babies. So I'm going to copy that and come down here. And I forgot to, I also want you to put this down here, basically what we just put into Wolfram Alpha, just to tell me that this is what you would do to figure that out. So let me get rid of some of that spacing in there. So sometime during the year 2030, we said, we would expect to find 0 infant mortality, which verifies how we got the negative number for the year 2050, because we saw that it kept going down and down and down. All right. And that's all I want you to do for your linear regression model. The next video, I'm going to show you how to do a non-linear regression model.